Hello, it's Senior Runner here, part of John Esser Sports Channel, where we do Championship, League One, football, and running. And today it's running. And I wanted to do something on clothing. So I wanted to do shirts. Now, this is interesting because as a beginner, we look at. I remember being a beginner, going out there and seeing all these nicely coloured shirts out there, and thinking, some of them cost an absolute nightmare, and others are don't cost a lot, but they look equally as good. And as a professional or as a middle runner, or even as a sort of a runner that's been around for a couple of years, you probably learn how to choose these. But as a beginner, it's very, very difficult. So I'm sure that you that do tune in are probably about to turn off. Are probably thinking, well, I know all that, I'll just move on. But it's very difficult for the beginner. Now, this is actually really pushed towards the sort of beginner or someone who's been running perhaps a year or so and thinking, have I got the right idea? And am I thinking things correctly? Now, it's winter time here in England, and this is one of my special ones. This is from Decathlon, part of Decathlon. Called it. It's part of Decathlon Creation. So this is a specially designed one. Now this, I just put it the right way around. So I've just washed it. So we are talking clean clothes. So this is a very nice top, and I'll just show it you first because I think it's important to see the actual look of it, and then I'll tell you what it feels like and what it's made of. Now this is it's a red one. It looks a bit orangey on there, but it is a red one. It's long sleeved, and it is bright red, and that looks rather funny coloured, and it's made of two materials. Well, it's made in two layers. Now, when you get this shirt, it actually gives you a breakdown of what the two layers are and how those two layers work, which I'll go into in a minute. But the outside is really quite smooth, and the inside is quite furry, and it's furry for a reason. Not to keep you warm, although it does keep you very warm, and it is my winter shirt, my winter selection. If you actually look at the details, it won't tell you what's on the inside, because it has been apparently specially created by the manufacturer. The outer fabric is 89% polyester and 11% elastane. So the outside is actually quite springy. The inside isn't. The inside's quite that's not. It's a little bit springy, but not as much as the outside. So what this does is it keeps you nice and warm in winter. Great idea. You have got a zip on the front, which, as soon as you start sweating, comes straight down, and you allow air in through the gap in front, which is really important with this one because you don't want to overheat. So the zip actually allows you to add extra air through the neck or upper chest. So and then when you start and it's really freezing cold, you can zip it up completely, and it's right tight to the neck. So you can think, right, okay, I'll just let myself get a little bit warm, then I'll unzip it and we can get some more air inside. Now that's important because that starts to cool down the body through airflow. And with this one, it is supposed to allow a certain amount of air through, but it doesn't allow an awful lot because it is two layered and the outside is actually quite smooth and it's quite tight knit. So if I blow through, it will blow through, but you can feel the resistance. So it would have to be quite windy for it to go through this, which is why I use it in winter. But the material here is quite important because the fluffiness of the inside isn't its main job isn't actually to keep you warm. Excuse me. It's actually to suck up the moisture. And once that moisture gets into that layer there on the inside, it then gets taken into the outside layer and it spreads quite distinctly. And you end up with patches of sweat starting to develop on the outside. Now, the idea of that is evaporation causes cooling. If you think of that all the time during this video, evaporation causes cooling. Therefore, as soon as you get the water, the moisture on the outside, and you're running along, and the wind, or hopefully just the wind is hitting you, or the sun is hitting you, that moisture starts to evaporate, and that cools down the shirt. It also cools down, that shirt in turn cools you down. So evaporation causes cooling, but it's only going to evaporate if air blowing hits the moisture. And to do that, the inside sucks the air up, sucks the moisture up, and sucks it through to the outer layer. That works really well. Now, it's a well-designed shirt, and there's lots of these around. There's lots of different types, and you'll notice them straight away because they do have their own little with the actual paper tag or cardboard tag that you get with it. Have a look at it, and quite often, like this one, it gave you the intricate details of how it was made up and how it sucks moisture up and how it distributes it along the outer layer. You'll see automatically through the card then that's attached to the top that it is a specially designed shirt. But you can also tell by the fact that the inside is definitely designed to suck up. I mean, if it's nice and it's you could imagine it being cotton wool, but it's a lot coarser. You know, if you put cotton wool against your body, it's going to suck up moisture really quickly, isn't it? If you put cotton on, it's not going to suck up quite as suddenly. Whereas cotton wool, whoosh, it suddenly gets wet. So that's, if you look at a shirt that's got two layers to it like this, it's quite likely that it's going to cost a little bit more. And the reason is it's specially designed, and you're paying for the design, but you're also paying for that ability to, especially with this with a long shirt, long sleeve, you're paying to be able to run and keep warm. And then once you've gone past a certain distance and you start getting hot, you can unzip it. You can get the air going through inside as much as you like by upping and lowering the zip, and that will cool off the moisture that's coming out through sweat, and it will cool you down directly. So you can cool yourself down directly, or you can cool yourself down all over steadily by allowing the moisture to come out, and then the wind will hit that moisture pad, and it will cool that whole area of body off. So you're trying to get cooled down in two ways. So that's why that shirt is really good. Now, this is 100% polyester. This is just a sweat. This is a standard sweat towel for somebody with cancer. So, they have lots of problems. One of which, when my wife was alive, a nice absorbent towel for when the drugs start making her sweat. So that is polyester. Now it's basically one material, but it's woven in a way that it's got, if you look at it, it's actually got, again, two distinct surfaces. So it's got a smooth surface, it's got a rough surface. Again, the rough surface is there to try and give more area, so it sucks up the air, sucks up the water. And then if you have that on the smooth on the outside, it will then hit the smooth area and evaporate. Or you can do it the other way and have the smooth against your body, and it will suck up moisture a little bit slower because there's less air, surface area. However, the moisture that comes through the other end, if you've got wind against that, because there's more surface area, you should actually get more evaporation from it. So that's the principle behind the polyester ones. And you'll see I mean, this is another long sleeved one, but I've got a short sleeve one there that's got slightly different items in it. So this is a gill one. So this is one of the cheaper ones. So this is actually going into 100% polyester. Now, a lot of people don't like running in polyester. It doesn't give you much warmth. So if you go out, even in this with a long sleeve, different colour. This is more orange. So yes, you are seeing right. It's a nice long sleeve, but it's 100% polyester. Now, if we show you the way it's woven, it's actually woven pretty much in 2 layers, very thin layers, but that's a very, very sheeny inside. The inside is very sheeny, very, very soft, very flat. Whereas if you look at the outside is designed with a little bit more care. So the outside actually has small holes in it, trying to draw the wind and the air through. So this is very good at trying to get the air to go through the shirt and start evaporating the moisture directly on the body. I don't see this absorbing a lot of moisture. And I know you're going to think, well, it's thin. Surely to God, you start sweating, it evaporates. Well, no, because there's that much wind coming through it. It's that thin. The wind goes straight through. And as soon as you're sweating, this actually allows the wind straight through. And you feel yourself cooling down quite quickly. So although it's a long sleeved, it's not, to me, it's not really a winter shirt. You would think it is because it's got a long sleeve. Actually, I find this particular thin style of polyester it's more for looks than it is for running, because I find it a little bit, you look at it and you think, oh, this will be good for winter, and it's probably good for that bit between summer and winter where you can get a little bit of push away of the wind. The wind does deflect a little bit from it. Obviously, you've got material there, but it doesn't suck up the moisture and evaporate, cooling the shirt down over big areas. It allows the wind straight through. So that's why the polyester one is cheaper. It's not as well designed. However, it does have some design in it, so it will cost a modicum amount more than just a normal cotton shirt. However, looks deceive. So we have to be careful when you're buying something like that, which is a thin polyester, because I found that the wind goes straight through. And that's what I do here on this channel. I try things out and I give you what's actually happening rather than what the professionals will look at. Oh, he's got it totally wrong. No, I've tried it and I don't get much sweat coming through with that one. I do with a thicker one, but then I see it pooling out and it never gets really sodden wet. It just evaporates as soon as it's the material in it. It's specially designed. It evaporates really well. It's a well-designed shirt. This one doesn't. It allows air through, which is quite typical. This doesn't have a list of what it is, but it's almost certainly polyester. One sheet. It's not even woven differently on the outside and inside. It's one full sheet printed on the outside, and again, it's short. It's a short sleeve one. It's definitely a summer one. As you can see, that's my brain tumor research, which is what my wife died of. And the wind certainly does go through that, and it can go round through the sleeves, round through the neck. If it's a nice hot day, they're perfect. And the material doesn't matter then, because what you're wearing is something. Let me just re-show you the neckline, because the neckline is pulling air in, and there is no sleeve. It's literally 2 big open armpits. So actually, that does allow an awful lot of wind in, and it's almost like is red hot. Let's go with that, because we know that any breeze from me running at a speed will cause hopefully enough wind to go down and cool me off as I'm running, and then we can perhaps run in something a little bit more warmer. This is another polyester one. Now, this is what I wanted to show you something a little bit thicker, but in polyester still. And it's similar to the orange one, but it's a lot thicker. It's still 100% polyester. And you can see how thick it is because it's actually sewn around the edges. And you can, rather than this one doesn't really have I think it's sewn very, very lightly. They're very, very small seams because it's very thin. Because this is thicker, the seam is a lot thicker, and there's more sewing there. So you may have to try these in a sort of long run, because it's things like this that you have to think about when you're running. If you're going to run long distance, that one has very small seams, and it may not chaff and rub against your body. This one can. It doesn't do too badly for me, but that's for me. If you run in a certain style and your arms sort of flail a little bit closer to your body, then perhaps that might rub against you. So the downside of it being thick is that it's got thicker seams. So do have to think about it. Will it suit you? Perhaps try one out, see whether it works. If it doesn't, then you just don't buy another one. And every time you go out, you look at the seam and think, no, that's the one that chafed and rubbed against my side. So that's the seam side of it. The actual shirt side of it, it's a short sleeved shirt. Again, inside out, it's actually it's actually a Hummel. I can get the it's actually a Hummel, so not too expensive, a bit cheaper. It's, if I was to describe it, the outside has the outside, because I've got it inside out, you can see the pattern. It's definitely got a pattern on the outside. It's definitely trying to pull the air through it. It's got holes in it. I can do that, and I can see through it. It's definitely got some ability to allow air through the shirt. On the inside, however, it's almost a complete sheen. Again, another it's the same material, but it's in two different forms. On the outside, a lot more patterned, a lot more bigger holes in it. On the inside, the same sized small sheen of fabric. So it's, if you just stood away and looked at it, you'd think it was thin cotton, but it isn't. It's polyester. This is actually a lot warmer because it's thicker. Does it soak up liquid? Well, because it gets you a lot warmer, this will, even in winter, this will actually make the torso of the body, because it is short sleeve, a lot warmer, a lot hotter indeed than the thin one, because although it's allowing air through, it's not allowing as much air through because it is thicker. It's not going to, is it? So it doesn't allow as much air through. It would have to have lots more bigger holes, yeah. And the inside hasn't got big holes in it, so it wouldn't. It's still unexpanded. It's still quite small and tight on the inside. So yeah, you can see bigger gaps on the outside, and you think that those gaps are going to go straight. They don't. They get stopped by the inside. So this does make you sweat a little bit more because of the thickness of it. It doesn't make you sweat an awful lot more. It makes you sweat a little bit more because it's thicker, because you get warmer with it. I don't find polyester really the main benefit of polyester to me is the fact that the air goes. It's the amount of air that goes through the polyester, and it evaporates on the body rather than evaporating on the shirt. I don't find these very good for cooling down in a sort of running situation where there's very little wind. I find these suddenly stop me from running, because you could overheat with them, because there's no sweat coming out and evaporating naturally as you're running along, or very little. Obviously you are going to get sweat. Don't dislike me for saying that. Then we have two specialist ones. Now these are, I've got a man's and a woman's, because my wife she'd just started rerunning when she got cancer, so I've got one of her shirts there. This is, I did have it, this is 89% polyester, 11% spandex. Now, this is really stretchy, really stretchy. It's nice and stretchy. It's like the polyester, but the polyester is a lot coarser. This is smooth. It's very thin, very stretchy. It's almost like a skin. And you can imagine what I'm going to say. It is like a skin. It acts like a skin. Moisture will hit this and go straight through it. The spandex seems to just allow you to stretch it just enough to have more gaps, just big enough to suck the air through, which is what this inside layer of the red one does. It's the fluffiness sucks the air through. Well, the gaps that you open up with the spandex appears to just suck through. These, if we are running in these, and this is a short sleeve one, if I'm running in this in summer, I'm nice and cool. However, if it's really hot, I'm still cool, because it's like a second skin. Well, it is a second skin. It's evaporating and it's cooling down, and it's part of your body. It really is part of your body. They're really, really good. If you can buy some of these quite cheaply, and it's purely the material mix that gives it that extra ability in summer. That's a thin one. This is the wife's when she was alive. This, I don't think, gives you a percentage. 86% polyester, 14% spandex. So what was that one? That's 14% spandex. This one was 11, wasn't it? Yeah, this one's 11. So it's got a little bit more spandex in it, and it is a lot more springy, a hell of a lot more springy. It's only got a few percent more spandex, and look at it, it's an awful lot more stretchy. But it has to be for the female body, because they don't sort of make the cut for the boobs. It stretches around it. So I can wear this and it doesn't look stupid, because it's the spandex and the fact that it expands so to form a second skin that enables it to fit around the female body. Whereas on a male, it just doesn't expand. It's simple as that. Does it suck up? Yeah, it does suck up, and it sucks up quicker because it's thicker, and it makes you feel a lot warmer. So I can go out in winter in this. It's a long sleeved one, and I can enjoy running in this. Now it's the same design. So this is a critical point. You see, if you're going to go for a run, again, it's got a zip on it, and it's great because you can choose to have how much. You can choose by the height of the zip how much air you allow in through the neck, and direct cooling down from the wind going against your body. Or is it too low, too windy? If you're running a long distance, you know you're going to start sweating after about 5 or 6 miles. and you keep your zip down, you're going to expect a lot more wind coming down, and all that a lot of that evaporation to happen straight in the body under the shirt, which means that you're going to feel that evaporation, feel the cooling down quite quickly. But you're also going to feel a fair bit of cooling down from the actual material, because it's like a second skin, and it really is quite good. Which one do I prefer? Because this one, as far as long sleeve shirts go for winter, because I think summer is pretty much anything in summer you're going to try and get as much of the shorter sleeves, shorter necks, trying to make sure that the wind can get in there. Any movement that causes a breeze, good for you. It gets straight down and cools you down directly. A direct cooling in summer is really good, because you've got the sun there, you've got the warmth there. Even if it's cloudy, it's probably quite warm, and you can run around, and that direct cooling is really good. Yes, the sweat evaporation cooling is also good, but the direct cooling is quicker, but it's more direct and more concentrated on where the breeze goes. Just remember that. So which one do we like for winter? Because this is actually really good. It's this tends to suck up and distribute more over the whole shirt. I would say this sucks up moisture everywhere, and it goes straight through the shirt. This one, the more direct route, and you can tell it's a direct route because it's like a fluffy inside, and the fluff on the inside pulls it through in blocks. If you have a patch of sweat coming down one side, or let's say down the middle, yeah. So you've got a streak of sweat down the middle of your chest in a nice row. The red one, the more professionally made one, presumably, will have a patch that concentrates on the middle, but it will spread outwards gently, and probably cool. The wind will cool it down, or the breeze will cool it down. It won't get quite so far. Whereas this one tends to just suck it up, and it's almost like because it's a second skin, it sort of moves between the shirt and the body. It seems to just the sweat seems to sort of move out and then straight through the shirt. That one does tend to be moisture ridden all over, whereas the red one, when I finish, will be in patches. So I actually prefer the cheaper one personally, but the red one is concentrating the cooling around the bit of the body that is sweating, i.e. the bit of the body that's feeling the most heat. So technically, guys, the most expensive one is best, because that's concentrating the heat, the cooling around the heat source, but spreading it slightly so you're cooling around the heat source as well as the heat source. Whereas this one tends to cool quite a lot through evaporation as a second skin. So it is up to you which one you prefer, and you do have to try it. But certainly shirts like that, rather than some people do like running cotton shirts, and if you want to run in a cotton shirt, then great. But they tend to just soak up the moisture and hold it, and pure cotton tends to just grab it and keep it in. Like I said with cotton wool, it sucks it up really quickly, but try and dry off a piece of wet cotton wool, and it doesn't dry off very quickly, because cotton doesn't actually dry up very quickly. It keeps it encapsulated and holds it. It will dry off, but you'll probably put it in the washer by the time it starts drying off. So, but you can run with a cotton t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with that. You will see that you start looking a bit wet and damp, and you'll think that you're going to get some of the wind. Whew, come cool it off, let's evaporate some of that moisture, and it won't. It'll just stay there as a wet shirt, which could increase the chafing if you're rubbing against because what you're going to get is cotton, moisture, and skin. And if you're getting a sort of a free fall, a free rubbing action, because you've got that moisture just making allowing the shirt to run slightly and move slightly against the body, rather than these that cling against it. Second skin, yeah, it clings against it. The cotton will move a lot more. The fully polyester ones as well, they will cling. They will do more clinging than what cotton does. So they'll tighten because they've got a bit of stretchiness to them. They tend to sort of stick and hold quite nicely. So the cotton, because it's usually a little bit more baggy, and it soaks up the water and allows you to have a sort of material moisture skin, can cause a little bit of chafing. But on the whole, I think it's. I hope that you've seen the differences between basically the three types of shirt, and the fourth one, which is the cotton, because it's when you're buying them and you're thinking, oh, what should I buy? You've got to think about the material and do you think it's going to be good for that long run? Wherever it is in the world that you're living, what's the coldest temperature you're going to run in? Will it allow you, like this one and the other spandex one, will it allow you to run nice and warm when you start off and go down the road because it's really cold where you live? Or do you not need something like that, because actually where you are is usually warm enough to wear a short sleeve shirt? So it depends where you live, certainly for the temperatures and the environment you're going to be running in, but it also depends on the thickness, because like I said, these two shirts are the same material, they're just 100% polyester, but you've got the seam to think about. So think about the material, think about the seam, think about the temperature that you're going to be running in, and think about perhaps the environment, how much wind do you get where you are. If you're not getting wind, then the spandex might not be quite as good. We may need to try and get some more open air items, like the short sleeve one there, which is actually one of the spandex ones, but very thin and with a short sleeve and low neck. Or something really, really simple, like my unknown origin, which is probably polyester. But like I said, you've got the cut-out neck and the cut-out arms. So it is about the environment, looking at your environment that you're going to be running in, looking at the temperatures you're going to be running in. What sort of winds do you get? Do you get gale force winds like we do in England? And do think about the rain. Are you going to be running in rain? This one soaks up rain as well, because it's very good at soaking up moisture, but unfortunately it soaks up rain, and you're relying on that rain at some point to get evaporated. Now if the rain stops and all of a sudden you've got that cold wind blowing, it will evaporate really quickly and you'll feel really, really quite cooled down while you're as soon as the rain stops and you're running along. So you've got to think about the environment in that case as well. Is it going to rain? Does it rain a lot where you are? Are you going to be running in rain? So it's a lot more complicated than what you think, So do keep replaying the video and do keep thinking about the different things. Perhaps make a few notes. Look at your environment. Note your environment down. Note, does it rain? No, is it mainly sunny and nice and hot, or do you have something like England where occasionally it gets hot, but most of the time it's mild or freezing cold? Are you running in snow? And then try and decide what cloth will help as far as evaporation, Do you need evaporation? Do you need direct cooling? And then will rain need to be thought of? Will it soak up rain like the red one? This tends not to soak up rain. I must admit, this tends the spandex and polyester seems to knock off rain rather than soak it up. That's specifically designed to soak up, whereas this one naturally soaks up because of the format of the fibres and how the spandex sort of opens up small gaps for the moisture to go soak through. So do think about all that. Write things down. Write your environment. Write when you're going to be running and what sort of environment you will be running in, and then choose which one of those four, even if it's cotton, you go for. Low neck, low arms cut out, long arms, short sleeves like this one, and then make your choice. But it is actually a lot more difficult than what you think. So Senior Runner, over and out for another video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.